Well, hello, students. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and welcome to another episode of Parlay with Jay. This is a C-1 English listening practice video. Use this video to practice your listening skills. And if you want to study my longer English lessons, use the links in the description. In today's English lesson, I will read a story to help improve your English listening skills and then discuss the meaning of a few English vocabulary words you need to know from today's story. Today's story I'm calling Carlos's Mistake. I hope you're ready for a little bit of learning and laughter. Let's dive into today's story. Carlos was a pretty ordinary 7th grader. He enjoyed video games, hanging out with his pals, and acing his science test. One sunny afternoon, while exploring his grandma's ancient attic, he stumbled upon a dusty, leather-bound book. Its pages were filled with strange symbols and peculiar drawings. Intrigued, Carlos took it home. He soon discovered it wasn't just any book. It was a cryptic journal detailing how he slightly altered past events. At first, he used it for small things like making sure his favorite team won the school soccer match. But then he read about a significant historical event that he felt could have gone better. With a deep breath, Carlos decided to make a small adjustment. He followed the journal's instructions, a little nervous, but also thrilled. The next day at school was bizarre. Everyone was suddenly obsessed with collecting bottle caps, a hobby no one had ever cared about. It turned out Carlos had inadvertently prevented the invention of the internet. Realizing the immense impact of his actions, a wave of anxiety washed over him. He frantically flipped through the journal, searching for a way to undo his mistake and bring back cat videos and online games. Finally, he found a complex sequence, and with trembling hands, Carlos tried again. The next morning, the world was back to normal. Except now, everyone had a strange fondness for wearing mismatched socks. Carlos learned a valuable lesson. Even small changes can have huge, unexpected results, and maybe history was best left as it was. What a crazy story. Have you ever seen something in your journey of life, maybe a choice that you made and you wish you could undo it? You know, there's a saying that we have that the past is the past, or we say, what's done is done. There's no need of crying over spilled milk. But in Carlos's case, he saw something that he didn't like. He went back and tried to change it, and it actually made it worse. So somewhat of a quirky story that I put together, but I wanted you to understand that sometimes things happen. We should learn from it and then try to improve our life from there. So, though this was a C1 English lesson, there are some intermediate words in today's story I want to talk about. So, at the beginning of the story, I said Carlos was a pretty ordinary 7th grader. So, something or someone that is ordinary is common. I mean, nothing special, nothing that stands out. They're average, common, ordinary, usual. Okay, so you might use ordinary in a sentence by saying, for most kids, going to school is an ordinary part of the week. Or you might say, there was nothing out of the ordinary about seeing a beautiful sunset. Okay, so it's nothing common or nothing really special. It's something that you're used to. Okay, so if I cooked a meal for you and it was nothing special, you would probably respond by saying, it was all right. It was ordinary. Jay, it was okay. Another word from today's story is ancient. So remember, Carlos went to his grandmother's attic, and I described it as being ancient. Something that is ancient is very old, or something that has existed for a very long time. Okay, it's amazing how when you get older, your kids think you're ancient. Okay, you're just like, look, I'm just 10 years older than you or 15 years older than you. But something that's ancient is dozens of years or tens or even hundreds of years old. Okay, so you can have an ancient book or an ancient photograph or an ancient fossil of a particular animal. So you might use ancient in a sentence by saying, the museum had displays of ancient Roman coins and pottery. Or my grandmother keeps her photos in an ancient wooden box. Another word that I used was cryptic. Cryptic, something that is difficult to understand. Usually it has a secret or a hidden meaning. So you might say the message left on the door was short and cryptic. We usually describe a place as being cryptic, like the cemetery is so cryptic at night. Or you might describe someone's facial expression. She gave a cryptic smile, and I wondered what she was thinking. Adjustment. So an adjustment is a small change made to something in order to improve or correct it. So you might say the recipe needed a small adjustment in the amount of sugar. So a couple of weeks ago, I made pickled onions and I added my vinegar, my garlic, and some other seasoning, and it sat for a few days. And then when my wife and we used it, it was good, but had too much vinegar, and I had to make an adjustment and add more sugar. Okay. Let's look at one more word. I have several more I'm going to include in the notes. Make sure you join the Patreon to get them. Anxiety, a feeling of worry, nervousness, or unease about something. Before the test, Carlos felt a lot of anxiety. Or before the wedding, the groom felt some anxiety about getting married. You know, just a little fear, stress, worry. Don't we all get anxiety from time to time? Let's do one more. Complex, something that is difficult to understand. So complex is synonymous with cryptic. Okay, so you might say trying to fix the car can be quite complex. Or trying to figure out women is very complex. Ladies, don't get mad at me. Okay, that's going to do it for today. I have some more words, but I'm only going to keep this short and sweet. I hope you have enjoyed today's story, and make sure you review it, listen to it again, see if you can follow along on the screen, as well as study these vocabulary words. And if you want my notes, be sure to join the Patreon. As always, I hope you join me on my next English lesson. I'll see you then.